أنا وقفت. تمام. هل لقيت صوتي هل لقيت صوتي واضح؟ أنا وقفت بس شبكت على النت. تمام. وأنت حتى صوتك عندي واضح. تمام. So let us check. If n is equal 0, return 1. Else, what I'm going to do, I'm going to call myself. What is the name of the method? Factorial. What will be the value next time? It will be n minus 1. So factorial of 5. 5 is equal 0. No, L. 5 multiplied by factorial of 5 minus 1 يعني 4. So I'm going to call myself 4. Is 4 equal 0? لا. Else it will be 4 multiplied by 3. Factorial 3. So call myself 3. Is it 3 equal 0? No. So it will be 3 multiplied by factorial 2. Invoke myself. Again, invoking myself. 2. 2 is equal 0? No. So else 2 multiplied by factorial 1. So invoking myself again. 1. N is equal 1. 1 is equal 0? No. So it will be factorial 1 multiplied by factorial 0. Invoke myself again. N is equal 0. If n is equal 0, yes, yes, أخيراً, this is the termination point. This is the base point here. So I'm going to return 1. يبقى 1 by 1, return back. 1 by 2, return back. 2 by 3, 6, return back. 6 by 4, then return back. 24 multiplied by 5, it will be 120. So public static void main, I'm going to ask the user to import by using scanner system.in, system.out.println, enter the non-negative number, and I'm going to read it scanner by stream. يا طلاب الأعزاء لما غطينا مع بعض الستريم how to open the stream, keep read, and finally you have to close the stream. So what is missing here? I have to say input dot close. مظبوط ولا لا؟ to close الستريم بتاعنا. فاكرين؟ تمام. input dot close, and finally I'm going to first الأول I'm going to invoke the method factorial and done. So what is the base case here? Which will stop me. Which time I'm going to repeat? I'm going to repeat myself again each time with less value. Its first one was 5. Then next time I'm going to multiply by 5, multiply by factorial of 4. Then factorial of 3. Then factorial of 2, of 1. Once I get 0, I'm going to return 1. In this case, I'm going to return back 1 by 1. By 2, by 3, it will be 6. By 4, it will be 24. And finally, by 5, it will be 120. Clear? Clear يا جماعة لين هنا؟ Clear؟ أي سؤال لهذه المنطقة؟ تعالوا نشوف الرن بتاعها هيبقى ازاي. يلا أنا رح أشغلها على الشاشة. Factorial 4, it will be, تعالوا هنا جزء animation. Factorial of 0, return 1. Factorial of n, it will be n. Factorial of n minus 1. يلا. Next. Factorial of 4, it will be, حدا يرد عليا. Factorial of 4, it will be, factorial of 4, it will be
4 multiplied by factorial 4 minus 1.
برافو أحسنت الله يفتح عليك. It will be 4 multiplied by factorial 3. Next, factorial 3, it will be
3 minus 2 factorial 2.
Very good. Factorial 2, it will be factorial 2, it will be
2 minus 1 factorial 1.
Bravo. Factorial 1, it will be
1 minus 1 factorial 0.
Bravo. What will be the value of factorial 0? It will be 1 and the stop. So it will be 1.
1.
1. and return by 2, by 3, by 4, again, and finally 24. ولو كانت factorial 5 كان كملنا. Is it clear? Yes يا غزل تفضلي. غزل احكي أو احكي. Okay. So
بالغلط تفتح المايك يا دكتورة.
ايش يا عمري؟ ايش يا حبيبتي؟
بالغلط انفتح المايك معلش.
حصل خير يا ماما ما في مشكلة. صار خير. اوكي next تعالوا نشوف الستاك هيحصل فيه ايه. This is my stack.
I have a question. How we go 24 at the end?
How to get to what? Please repeat your question again, dear.
How to get 24 at the end?
Because this was factorial 4, not factorial 5. Okay? Okay, if you want factorial 5, in this case, I have to write it here. 5 and add more lines. Did you get it? Here I'm writing factorial 5. 4, not 5.
Yes, okay.
Okay. If it is factorial 5, in this case, it will be like the following. It will be 5 multiply 4 multiply factorial 4. صح? Then factorial 4, it will be 5 multiply factorial 4 multiply 4 multiply factorial 3 and so on. Clear?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Finally, it will be 120. تمام؟
Yes, it's clear.
Next, let us take it from tracing recursive factorial. Maybe you will find something like this in the final exam, as you are going to draw it. Yani you have many ways to solve this question. Either to give it to you as the iteration, and you are going to write it by recursion technique, or give it to you the idea, and you are going to draw it, write it like this, or draw it on the stack. So this is my stack here in the right bottom in the screen. This is my stack, and let us take it. This is my stack. So factorial 4, it will be step 0. Return 4 multiplied by factorial 3. And factorial 3, it will be return 3 multiply factorial 2. Factorial 2, it will be 2 multiply factorial 1. Factorial 1 will be 1 multiply factorial 0. Factorial 0, it will be return 1. So after 1, return back 1 by 1. It will be 1. Return back 1 by 2. It will be 2. Return back 2 by 3. It will be 6. Return back 6 by 4. It will be 24. And this will be the factorial. Tamam? So, do I have to know how to write this technique? Yes. Yes. Always they give something like this in the final exam. How to trace recursive factorial. Trace recursive method. You are going to write the name of the method. Then go back to its policy. If n is equal 0, it will return 1. If n is equal or greater than is 0, يعني 1 and above, it will be n multiplied by factorial of n minus 1. So it will be like this. I have to write 4, then 4 multiplied by 3, by factorial 3, then 3 multiplied by factorial 2, then 2 multiplied by factorial 1, then 1 multiplied by factorial 0, and finally I have to write return 1 and return by 1, 1 by 1, return 1, 1 by 2, return 2, 2 by 3, return 6, 6 by 4, return 24, and this is the factorial of 4. Clear? Clear? So, next. First, the space required for factorial 4. First, the space required for factorial 4 and 3. Then, factorial 4, 3 and 2. Then, factorial 4, 3, 2, 1. Then, factorial 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Once I received 0, I'm going to return with 1. 1 by 1 in factorial 1. Then, and by 2 in factorial 2, then 2 by 3 in factorial, it will be the factorial 3, that means it will be 6, then finally 6 by 4, which is here, it will be 24. Clear? Okay, I can write it by, trace it by stack. I can write it as a tree by tracing recursive. I can write it as code أنا برجع as tracing with numbers or tracing with codes. شايفين أنا عم برجع, or writing the recursive function or writing the iterative factorial أو function. تمام يا جماعة؟ I'm showing you the repetition again. Okay. And this is another example. Any question regarding the first example? Any questions still here?
No, it's clear.
Clear. Tamam. Now you have another example. Assume the below method. F of 0 is equal 0, f of n is equal n plus f of n minus 1. So where is the termination point? Where is the base point, ya jama'a? Where is the termination base point? Termination point. It will be when f is equal 0. I'm going to return with 0. So let us writing it. Public static integer. What is the name of this? If integer n. If n is equal 0, return what? 0. Tamam? Else return what? N plus f of n minus 1. Type. Let us do what will be the output of f of 5. F of 5. 5 is equal 0. No, so it will be 5 plus f of 4. Okay? Then 5f of 4, it will be, is it equal 0? No, so it will be 4 plus of what? Of what? F of 1, is it equal 0? No, it will be 1 plus f of 0. What will be in f of 0? Return what? 0. So 0 plus 1, 1 plus 2. Go ahead.
In the previous example,
4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 0 as a returning from each part of these. Tamam?
Miss, I have a question, please.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
In the previous example, we multiply like 5 multiply factorial 4, 4
صح.
multiply factorial 3.
صح.
Here we are adding y.
Why? Because this is other example. This is another example. And look here. Look here. N is equal 0, return 1. صح? If N is equal 0, return 1. لكن in my example, N is equal 0, return what?
0.
0. And the relation here is what? The operator here is what?
Yes,
Summation.
addition.
Yes, addition.
Okay, thank you.
Most welcome. Any other questions? Any other questions? تمام. Okay. Fibonacci number. Fibonacci number. Okay. Do you know what to mean by Fibonacci? This is the Fibonacci series. If I have 0, so nothing. Okay. If I have 1, it will be 1. Okay. If I have 2, it will be 1 and 1. If I have 3, it will be 2 and 1. If I have 4, it will be 3 and 2. So, what is the series started by 0 and 1? Then each element is the summation of the previous 2 elements. If Fibonacci of 0 return 0, first base. Fibonacci of 1 return 1, second base. Fibonacci of greater than 1, it will be the summation of the previous 2 of them. Tamam? So let us take this one. And I'm going to share with you the notepad also. Fibonacci is 3. It will be the Fibonacci of the last 2. يبقى Fibonacci of 1 and 2. تمام? Fibonacci of 1 return what? Fibonacci of 1 return what? And Fibonacci of 2 return what? Fibonacci of 2 is equal to Fibonacci of 1 and 0. And Fibonacci of 1 return what? 1. So Fibonacci of like this. أنا بحطها عشان تشوفوها. Fibonacci of 3 it will be Fibonacci of 2 plus Fibonacci of 1. What is Fibonacci of 2? It will be the last 2. It will be 1 and 0. تمام? 1 and 0. So, and Fibonacci of 1 return 1. So, Fibonacci of 1 return 1. Fibonacci of 0 return 0. Fibonacci of 1. So, 1 plus 1, it will 1 plus 0, it will be 1. And Fibonacci of 1 return what? 1. Then it will be 1 plus 1 plus 2. What if I want to calculate Fibonacci of 4? Who will help me? Fibonacci of 4.
Fibonacci of
4, it will be the Fibonacci of last 2. So it will be the Fibonacci of
3 and 2.
Bravo. 3 and 2. Fibonacci of 3 and Fibonacci of 2. Where is the 3 of Fibonacci of 3? This one. And where is the Fibonacci of 2? Starting from this one. So, what will be Fibonacci 3? Yalla. Fibonacci 3, it will be هكتبها كده عشان تبقى واضحة. Fibonacci 3 it will be Fibonacci
of Fibonacci of 2 and 1
plus Fibonacci of 1. مظبوط ولا لا؟ plus Fibonacci of 2. تمام؟ Fibonacci of 2. What is the opening of the Fibonacci of 2? Fibonacci of 2 it will be Fibonacci
of 1 and 0.
Bravo. Fibonacci of 1 plus Fibonacci of 0 plus what is the Fibonacci of 2? It will be again Fibonacci of 1 plus Fibonacci of 0. صح? What about Fibonacci of 1 here? Still Fibonacci of 1. Okay. What will be Fibonacci of 1? What will be Fibonacci of 1? Fibonacci of 1 return 1 plus Fibonacci of 0 return 0 plus Fibonacci of 1 return 1 plus Fibonacci of 1 return 1 plus Fibonacci of 0 return 0. So what will be the value? 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 1 plus 0, it will be 3. So if I have Fibonacci of 4, the answer it will be 3. Okay? What if I have Fibonacci of 5? Fibonacci of 5, it will be Fibonacci of 4 plus Fibonacci of 3. So I'm going to go through again and again. Is it clear? Is it clear? It's not an easy, yes, I know. Okay? So, sharing the slides again. Okay? So now, this will be the Fibonacci of index. It will be Fibonacci of 1 plus minus 1 plus Fibonacci of minus 2 if index is greater than equal to. So this will be the Fibonacci of 3 as we wrote it together. So let us write the code. The code, it will be like the following. Public static integer Fibonacci per recursive integer n. If n is equal 0, return 1, 0. This is first termination. Else, if n is equal 1, return 1, 1. Second termination. Else, recursive again. Return Fibonacci of n minus 1 plus Fibonacci of n minus 2. This is the recursion technique. What if I'm going to make it or create it using a simple loop? Integral I is equal 0 or result starting by 1. Or previous result, it will be 0 and the following. While I less than n minus 1, I'm going to use it temporary to take this result and calculate the result plus the previous one. And the previous one, it will be the new temporary again and incremental I by 1. And again, I less than n minus 1. Yes, take it temporary as an integer again. It will take the result and the result, it will be the last result plus the previous one, and the previous one, it will take that u temporary and incremental I by 1. And finally, again and again, and return the result by the end. Is it clear? So this is why I have to know how to write the recursion technique, iterative technique, and how to go through tracing part for this technique. Is it clear? Tracing part for this technique. Let us take the tree. Yeah. What will be Fibonacci of 4? Ms Malak, can we have something like this in the final exam? Yes. Yes. Let us start. Fibonacci of 4 is Fibonacci of 3 plus Fibonacci of 2. Let's take the right hand. Fibonacci of 2, it will be Fibonacci of 1 plus Fibonacci of 0. What will return from 0? 0. What will return from 1? 1. So 1. Okay, and what will be Fibonacci of 2? It will be from here 1. تمام? And now go there. Fibonacci of 3, it will be what? Okay, Fibonacci of 2, it will be 2. So Fibonacci of 3 here, it will be what? Fibonacci of 2 plus Fibonacci of 1. From 1, I'm returning 1. From 2, Fibonacci of 1 plus Fibonacci of 0. تمام? So in this case, I'm going to return it back. Return Fibonacci of 0, return 0. Fibonacci of 1, return 1. So I'm returning here with Fibonacci of 2. Okay, and but Fibonacci of 2 with 1 from here, it will be finally Fibonacci of 4. Return like this. Is it clear? I have to draw it. I have to know how to draw something like this. Is it clear? And finally, if I have 5, so I'm going to return with 5 values. If I have 6, I'm going to return by 8. So please try to make it by your hands and draw it by your hands. تمام? By this one, we finished. By this end of 36, slide 36, we finished the, what do we mean by recursion? As I said here, what do we mean by recursion? Okay. And how to understand it, how to trace it, how to write the code in recursive way, how to write the code in iterative way. And finally, I am starting here to solve some problems. We take the first factorial, then summation, and finally Fibonacci. Now I'm going to go through more 4 examples. These 4 examples, they will be how I'm going to calculate the directory size, حجم الدايركتوري عندي, how we are going to solve Tower of Hanoi, how we are going to solve fractals using recursion, and how to discover the relationship between the 2 recursion and iteration. تمام? Okay. So now I'm going to starting from slide 37 about how to get directory size example, which will be the advanced level. Okay? Okay? Problem solving using recursion. Please read with me, read it. Read this part. Read this part. It is a scenario. You may facing something like this in the exam. So let us start. Consider a simple problem. Read it by yourself, please. What is this scenario about? Yalla, discuss it with me, please.
We have to break our problem in 2 parts. The first part will be n times, we will take it as n times, and the second part we will take it as n minus 1 times.
Nice. Nice. عايزة حد يشرحها بالعربي. يلا.
Miss, I can't speak Arabic.
Yes, dear. This is why I asked them, one of them to understand it and start discuss it with us, just to encourage them even to speak or to say anything. Okay. You can break the problem into two sub-problems. If you want to simple problem of printing a message for n times. So it will be problem and sub-problems. How? I'm going to print the first one and then, okay, first n, then iterative again, n minus 1, and again, n minus 1, again, n minus 1, n minus 1. Once I get 0, so I'm going to stop and stop working. So, public, static, void, I'm not returning anything, n println, the message I want to print it, and integer number of times. If the number of times greater than or equal 1, yes, so print the message and call myself by the message again and times minus 1. It was first time, it was 5. Then the second time it will be 4. Repeat again. Okay, or iterative again. By the message and 4. If 4 greater than or equal 1, true, print the message and recursive again by the message and 3. Recursive again, the message and 3. 3 greater than or equal 1, true, write the message. This is the first, the third time. And recursive again with the message and 3 minus 1, 2. Recursive again. 2 greater than or equal 1, true, يبقى print 4 in message and again call the message again with the 2 minus 1, it will be 1. Recursive again, 1 greater than or equal 1, true, so print it and recursive the message and 1 minus 1, it equals 0. Recursive, go again, the message and 0. If 0 greater than or equal 1, no. So stop and close. Is it clear? So it will be welcome with 5, then welcome with 4, with 3, with 2, with 1, and finally, okay, with 1, and finally it becomes 0, and the base when the time is equal 0, which will stop me. Is it clear? Miss, I can write it by another way, by checking on the 0. Yes, true. You can. You have many techniques here. Yes, if no, I can write it if it times is equal 0, stop. If the time is not equal 0, go again. Tamam? If the time is equal 0, stop, return 0, and finally, خلاص, if I didn't have, I'm going to return or recursive again. Is it clear? I know this part is not an easy part for you because it is the first time we are covering the meaning of recursive. What is a recursive? Invoking the method again by list or sub-problem from this problem. Clear? Clear? Think recursively. Many of the problems presented in early chapter can be solved using recursion if you think recursively. If بديتوا تفكروا بآلية التعامل مع recursion, so كثير من الآليات ممكن تنحل بهذه الطريقة, which is recursively. Recursively. For example, palindrome problem can solve recursively as following. What is palindrome? Palindrome, example of palindrome as the following. If it is palindrome or not. What is palindrome? Palindrome, if I'm writing from left and right. Okay, the same one. The first one is equal, the last one, remove. The second one is equal, n minus 1, remove. The third one equal, n minus 2, remove. So, فاكرين لما كنا فاكرين لما كنا بنقولها بالعربي مثلا كلمة ليبيا؟ كيف بتكتب ليبيا؟ ال مع ال مع الالف 2 باء الياء وبعدين الباء في النص صح؟ هي بالندروم هي تكنيك. I am checking if the first one is matching the last one, then the second one matching the last one minus 1, then the third one matching n minus 1, n minus 2, and so on. So let us take it. I'm checking if it is palindrome or not. So let us take this one. MLKKLM. So if S dot length string less than or equal 1, return true. Else, it check if the chart at 0 not equal the chart at length minus 1, return false. Else, يبقى how many base case I have 2. If the length less than 1, I'm going to stop. And if the first character not matching the last character. Else, returning palindrome by substring. I'm going to take a part of a substring as the following. The first starting from 1 and stop before the length minus 1. Okay? And it will be next one. It will be. So, what is MLKKLM? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 characters. So 6 less than or equal 1. 6 less than or equal 1. No. Else if the chart at 0 M is not matching or is not equal the chart at the last one. No. So call again by substring starting from 1 يعني from L until L length minus 1. So L K K L. Again call myself. How many characters do we have? L K K L. In this case, it will give me 4. 4 less than or equal 1? No. So if L, which is chart as 0, not equal chart as length which is 4 minus 1 يعني 3. L is equal L. Yes. لكن هنا بقول لك is not equal. No. So I'm going to again substring starting from 1. That means I'm going to take the K and the K and go again. The K and the K. Go again. Return again. Or recursive again. 2 less than or equal 1. No. The first one is not equal the first one. No. And return back with the substring. In this case, substring return 0. If length is equal 0, yes, so return true. It is what? It is palindrome. It is palindrome. Let us take this one. MLKHLM. So M is equal M. True. Yes. So L is equal L. True. And yes, M is equal H. No. So I'm going to return from here false. And it is not palindrome. And it is not a palindrome. Is it clear? Is it clear? So in this case, I'm checking.
Can you repeat again?
Back. So can you draw it? Can you draw it? Try it by your hands, please. Try it by your hands, please. So next. Directory size. بالعربي عايزة أعرف حجم الدايركتوري بتاعي الفولدر بتاعي. طب الفولدر محطوط فيه files وسب فولدرز والسب فولدرز فيها another sub folder. So what I have to do? The preceding example can easily be solved without using recursion. This section presents problem that it is so difficult to solve it without recursion. In this case, because I have to go one by one and ask about its size and calculate its size. Like if I'm using recursion, the problem is to find the size of the directory. The size of the directory is the sum of the size of all files in all directory. So a directory may contain subdirectories. So suppose the directory contains other files and other subdirectories and again and again. So in this case, I have to calculate. Are you file? Yes, calculate the summation. Are you file? Yes, calculate the summation. Are you file? Yes, calculate the summation. Are you file? No, I am a directory. Go inside it. If you have, are you file? Calculate the summation. Are you file? Calculate the summation. Any more? No. And so on, one by one until finishing all the directories and calculate the summation of all files in all directories. تمام يا جماعة؟ Let us check the code by the following. First, the size of a D directory, it will be the size of file 1, file 2 until file of M. Then I'm going to write the size of a D1, the size of a D2, and size until size of a Dn. That means I'm going to calculate the size of the first file, second file, blah, 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 until last file. Then go through directory, go inside the directory. Do you have other files? Yes, so start to calculate the summation. Bytes, calculate the summation of the length of these files inside directory 1. Then return and calculate the directory F, calculate the summation of the file size in directory 2, and so on until the end. Until the end. So I cannot solve this one using iterative. It will be very hard, very hard. Like if I'm checking with recursion, so it will be very easy. And this is the code. I'm going to take a long size as a local variable. Public static long get the size will file again. A long size is starting by 0. If the file is a directory, يبقى create a file, and for integer I starting from 0, file not equal null, and I less than file's length to file incremented by 1. Size it will be plus size, the previous size, plus get the size of this file of array. So I put all files in this directory in an array. I'm starting calculating their files. Okay, again to the next until all files. Okay, and finally, else if I'm not getting any the other directory, so its size it will be the last size plus the last length. I have it with me, and finally return its size. So what is the base case? The base case when I'm going to reach to the last file dot length and calculate it and return this size. Is it clear? Is it clear? So I have to go through all files, start to ask each file, what is your size, and calculated. And I'm going to put them in an array of files. زي ما عملنا array of buttons في graphical user interface, I'm writing array of files. تمام? Okay, until it is the last file I have it, so I'm going to calculate it out and add it on the size and finally return with the size. Is it clear? Is it clear? I know it's a new technique to you. So, Tower of Hanoi. Tower of Hanoi. قبل ما نبدأ Tower of Hanoi خلينا بس ناخد break 2 minutes. Can we continue now? Can we continue? So, Tower of Hanoi. Tower of Hanoi. أنا بس عايزة أورجيكم شغلة. I want to show you something online. Here, example of recursion on مثلا Java. Okay, I have here different example of recursion. Different example of recursion to get a lot of recursion in Java. Different recursion. Okay, different example. Tutorial with example recursion in Java مثلا. Here, recursion in Java, how I'm going to write it. There is a video about it. What is a system testing مثلا, how I'm going to make it, how I'm going to check. Okay, recursion based condition, a lot of example. Okay, a code about it. This is the factorial one, how by the same as we did. Okay, I have here Stack Overflow recursive. I have a lot of examples here, how I'm going to make Fibonacci. Okay, check if a number is palindrome or not. Okay, and so on. You have a lot of example, reverse string recursion Java. If I'm going to recursion, go back. Binary search Java, as in fill M180 and M269, how I'm going to make it. So find the minimum value in array using recursion. This is another example. I do like this example too much. Finding the maximum one also. التيل recursion, الهيد recursion, في الأول في الآخر. The difference between recursion and iteration. Okay, so you have a lot of free reading about it. Free reading about it. Clear? Now return back to my slides. In front of you, Tower of Hanoi. What is a Tower of Hanoi? Tower of Hanoi. Take it. Play Tower of Hanoi. I'm going to show it to you. You play it when you're still 2 years old. Here in front of you, this is a Tower of Hanoi. This is a Tower of Hanoi. Did you play this one before? Yes, yeah, miss. So let us take it. I have 3 tracks and I want to move them from A to C. So, but I have, look, it is here. I have, know what? I have a condition. I cannot put big one on top of small one. ما اقدرش احط واحد كبير على واحد صغير. So in this case, first, what I have to do, I have to do the following. This is the start point. Then I'm going to move the first one, the smallest one on C. Then I'm going to move the middle one in B. Then I'm going to move the smallest one on B and move the biggest one on C. So alhamdulillah. Now I'm going to move the small one on A, move herein, then move the B on the big one, and finally move the smallest one on this one. Okay, so I moved them. How I can solve this one without iteration? Impossible. It is very, very long technique to write it. So how I'm going to use? I'm going to use the technique of recursive. Is it clear? Is it clear يا جماعة? This is my tower of Hanoi and how I'm going to work on it. تمام? This is the most important.
Miss, can you explain this example that you just explained?
Okay, I want to move from A, all the tracks from A to C with one condition. Don't put big one on a small one. So I have to move the red to C. Then I have to move the Y to B. Then I need to move this green to C. How come I cannot put green on red? لأنه green greater than the red, bigger than. So I have to move the red on white. So C here now is free. So I'm going to move the green one on C. And I cannot put the red one on it. I have to move red one back to A and then take the white one back to C on top of the green, and finally the red one, it will be on top of the white. Is it clear?
Yes, Miss, it's clear now.
Bravo. Back to our slide. Tower of Hanoi. The problem involves moving special number of disks or tracks of distant size, one tower to another, while observing the following rules. There are in disks labeled.
الصورة مو واضحة.
Again.
الصورة.
طيب. ما عملش Yes, now in front of you. The problem involves moving special number of disks of distinct size, يعني size مختلف, أحجام مختلفة, on one tower to another tower while observing the following rules. There are in disks labeled 1 to 3N, and there are 3 towers ABC. يعني I have maybe 2 or 3 or 4 disks with the 3 labels towers. Yes, they are ABC. So no disk can be on top of a smaller disk at any time. All disks are initially placed on tower A, and finally it will be in tower C or tower B. So here again, I show it to you on colors. So A, B, and C, what I have to do, I have to move A from here, A, the first one to B, then the second one to C. I have 2 different techniques, then the B to C, and then the A to B, the third to A. Then I'm going to move the smallest one to A, then the number 2 on number 3, and finally number 1 on top of them all. Clear? The objective of this problem is to move all the disks from tower A to tower B or C حتى with assistant of C. يعني if to the power P with assistant of C or to the power C with the assistant of B, both are correct. So I'm going to, if I have n. So what I have to go? I have to move. This is the solution. I have to move n minus 1 disks to another one and move n to the middle. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to move the n to the middle, then back again, all the n minus 1 disks back on the big top one. Okay, so by this one, the Tower of Hanoi problem can be decomposed into 3 sub-problems. What is the first one? Move n minus 1 to C, then move the big one to B, then return back n minus 1 to B. Again, Tower of Hanoi problem can decompose into 3 sub-problems. First one, I'm going to move n minus 1 disks to C and the n disk to B, then back n minus 1 on B on the biggest one or biggest track, or the biggest disk. So this is the 3 composed sub-problem, how I'm going to solve it. Move the first n1 disks from A to C with the assistant of B. Move n disk from A to B, then back move n minus 1 disks from C to B with the assistant of A. With the assistant of A. This is the solution of the Tower of Hanoi. So, how I'm going to write it simply? Public static void main system.out.println, whatever I want to enter number of disks. So I'm going to use a scanner to get the number of disks. I'm going to n is number of disks, and I have tower A, tower B, tower C, and move the disks method. Let us go move the disks method. Public static void move disks. I have number of disks, which is n. I have from tower to tower using existing our assistant tower. If n is equal 1, simply move from first one to the second one. Else, I'm going to move n minus 1 from tower to the assistant one, using assistant one to the second one, and move n minus 1 tower from the assistant one to up to the first one, or the first disk. Is it clear? I know it is little bit not simple to write the code, but it is one of the most familiar, most famous code. I can use it using Tower of Hanoi, using recursive instead of iteration. Okay? This is the Tower of Hanoi. If I want to just move 3 disks using tower A, B, and C, like the following. This is, if I want to print it, this will be the values that I'm going to print it and get it. Okay, you have to go through the code, ya jama'a. They put it here because you are asked to write the code on NetBeans and start working on it and double check the answer. Double check the answers of returning from this calling again myself. Look, I am moving 2 times. Move n minus 1 to 1, so new one. Then move the rest one to new one, and back again n minus 1 to 1. So how many cases I have? 3 cases, as he said. Move n minus 1 disks from A to C with assistant of B. Move disk n from A to B. Then back again, move n minus 1 disks from C back to B with the assistant of tower A. Clear? By the same techniques 1, 2, and 3. And this is an example of the Tower of Hanoi results. Okay, and now we are going to take more 2 examples GCD. What do we mean by GCD? GCD is Great Common Divisor. القاسم المشترك الأعلى. If I want to, what is القاسم المشترك الأعلى? GCD, Great Common Divisor. For 2 and 3, it will be 1. What is the Great Common Divisor for 2 and 10? It is 2. What is the Great Common Divisor of 25 and 35? It will be 5. What is the Great Common Divisor of 205, 205 with 30 and 1? It will be 5. The common divisor of M and N, we can use it by start to check one by one for all divisor I have it. This means I want to have a big computer and supercomputer to start using brute force way. That means I'm trying to check all possible divisors. Tamam? And the second technique is using a Euclid algorithm, and the third technique using a recursive method or algorithm. Okay, so this is the Euclid algorithm. In the Euclid algorithm, I'm going to check and take the absolute value of both number. يعني إذا كان واحد منهم بالسالب, I'm going to just take an absolute by positive, and then each time I'm going to get the remainder and keep the remainder. If the remainder not equal is 0, I'm going to make T1 is equal T2, and T2 will take the remainder and calculate again T1 divide by the module of T1 by T2 and put it in R. Again, if R is not equal, the remainder is not equal 0, again, T1 will take the value of T2, T2 will take the remainder, and the new remainder, it will be the remainder of T1 divided by T2. Again, if it is not, again, I'm going to T1 will take T2, and T2, it will be take the remainder, and the new remainder, it will be the calculation of T1 remainders or modules of T2 until it is equal 0. In this case, where R is 0, T2 is the greatest common divisor between 2, 1, and 2. And finally, I'm going to return with T2, which will be the great common divisor. This is the Euclid algorithm. Euclid algorithm. Inshallah, لما تاخدوا M269, inshallah, you are going to take the Euclid algorithm again there. تمام? Now, how I'm going to calculate it by recursion. Very nice and very small. Public static integer GCD, great common divisor. I have the first one and I have the second one. If the module of M divided by 2 is equal 0, return N. Otherwise, return N GCD recursive with the return of the result of the modules again. So it will take, I'm going to swap as I did here. T1 will be take T2, and the second one, it will be the modulus. Again, I have integer M and integer N. If M module 2, module N is equal 0, return N. Else, I'm going to recursive with N instead of the first one, and the second one, it will be the result of the modulus, as we did. It is very easy, simple by using a recursive technique.
Miss, can you please repeat the last step?
In here, as I did here in Euclid.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to calculate the remainder. If the remainder is not equal 0, T1, it will be the value of T2, and T2 will take the remainder, and I have to calculate the new remainder. And it check if the new remainder is not equal 0 again, T1 will take the value of T2, T2 will take the previous remainder, and the remainder will be calculated again. This is by Euclid algorithm. By recursion, it will be as the following. If M module 2, module N is equal 0, so the n is the great common divisor. Otherwise, I have to recursive again with the first number, it will be n. The second number, it will be the remainder of m divided by n. Clear?
Yes, Miss. Thank you.
Most welcome. So where is the base point here? The base point here, yeah, Ms Malak, if m module n is equal 0, in this case, I'm going to stop and return with the n. Tamam? So, the last example here with me is fractal. Fractal is a geometric figure just like triangles, circles, rectangles, but fractals can be divided into two parts, each of which is the reduced size of the copy of the whole problem. What is fractals? Let us check it. You have this triangle. I'm going to starting with triangle. If I in the second one, how many triangles do we have here? Each triangle, you are going to divide it into small one. So it begins with the equilator triangle. Which is equilator? يعني ايه equilator triangle? What do you mean by equilator triangle?
The triangle in which all sides are equal.
Yes, it has the same size for all the three sides. Bravo. Which is considered to be the Cerebrinx fractal triangle in order or on level as shown above. Connect the midpoint of the sides of the triangle in order 0 to create the new triangle 1. Then each one put the middle of the middle point in each side and connect them. Again, I have this side, and this side. Tamam. So the middle, it will be here and here and here. I'm going to connect between them. This is the new triangle. Okay, now I have this triangle, three new triangles. The middle of here and here, it will be this one, the first one. Then the middle of this one, a new triangle will create it here. A middle of this one, and this one, a new middle here. So I am using each one once. I'm not using many times. يعني هنا I put the middle and connect. Here, middles and connect. Here, middles and connect. So again, here's middles and connect. Here's middles and connect. Here's middles and connect, and so on. So leave the center of the triangle intact. Connect the middle point of the sides of the three other triangles to create a new in order to. You can repeat the same process recursively to create these triangles in order 3, 4, and 5, and so on. You can try next example after finishing meeting 11 and 12 by your own self. You can try it, you can write the code and try to working. Look, here are, I am in the middle. I'm going to collect the middle in each one and draw a new one. Tamam? And again, middle and draw new one. So this is an example. He gave it to you. And if you want to check the code is here, and you can also go through it and after حتى meeting 11 and 12 and take it as an extra source or extra reading. Next. Now I have a very important points I have to cover in the next two slides. Recursive or iteration. Inshallah, when you are going to cover M180 or M269, you are going to cover the complexity of the algorithm, the weight of the algorithm, the time that the algorithm will take on working and executing on the CPU. So sometimes the recursion is more more efficient, since the time on the processor it will be smaller. لكن in the same case recursion take a memory stack, because I am going to create the second function, the same function many times, second times, third times, and fourth time. So recursion is an alternative form of program control. It is essentially repetition without a loop. A recursion bears substantial overhead. بيقلب الموضوع من overhead. Each time the program calls a method, the system must assign a space for a new method with local variables and parameters. This can consume, يستهلك considerable memory معايا, and require extra time to manage the additional space. لكن and sometimes recursion is good for solving problems that are inherently recursive. أصلاً أخذت وراثة من عملية التكرار الدائم. Inherently recursive هي بتاخد وراثة التعداد. تمام. So in this case we finished until this slide recursion. I know recursion is not an easy to be covered, لكن at least if you start understanding the factorial and the small examples, you can go through them. Where I can use these codes, inshallah, if I want to continue my study and to work on مثلا data science or even in network, sometimes they are using recursive. If I want to send a file, so I'm going to divide this file on packets and start follow the packets, not one by one, recursively. If it is started from the input one to the output and connect to the other parts or packages together to return back the message I sent it. So even the networks, they have recursive technique to double check on the system, audit, check and double check on each parameters and all parameters and each points or checkpoints in the system. Tamam? If you just go through it, you have to know how to write the code in an iterative way. You have to know how to write the code in recursive way, how to go through the example by writing by yourself the results, or draw the results by yourself as a tree, or use it as a stack. You have to go through all these. If you understand the scenario, you have to know what is the base point I have to stop on and when, and what is the recursive steps, and how you are going to recall yourself by increasingly data or increasingly value or decreasingly value. يعني إما بالزيادة يا إما بالنقصان. Clear يا جماعة? Clear? It is very nice. اللي هو computer.
Yes, Miss.
Special students in computer science track, they are going to use it. And the students in networking track, they are going to use it to double check for checkpoints on the networks and double check the codes using recursive technique in AI and data science. Tamam? Any questions? Any questions? Okay.
Miss, I have a question about DMA.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Miss, I have to take two files, right? One file for the project and the second one as Word file.
Yes, dear. For working on DMA, you have to start with the NetBeans to open a project, as I saw you before and explain it. Open a project and start implementing the classes. Check each class and finish the project. Once you finish, you have to open a Word file. Once you open the Word file, write your ID, your name, your session, and start copy and paste the codes of the classes you implemented on NetBeans and run it and take a snap or a screenshot for the output. No need for the codes. The codes خلاص, you already copied and pasted. And finally, you are going to upload the Word file in the first link, and the project, you have to make it zip file or compressed file, either using zip file or RAR file, and upload it on the second link. Clear?
Yes, Miss. And one more thing.
Yes, dear.
I have to take a screenshot of all the outputs.
2 or 3 screenshots, it will be enough. Yani just show me the power of your code, the power of your results.
Okay. And last thing, do I have to write a test class in my project? So just
It's
for
up
the
to
trial.
you. Very nice idea. It's up to you. Always, before using graphical user interface and connect the codes with graphical user interface, I am creating a test class, as I did during my running for all cases. صح ولا لا? Always I am creating a test class for me to check that I am reading correctly, I am collecting correctly, I am getting the data from a file, I'm saving a data on a file correctly. Then start connect all these codes with graphical user interface. Yes. I do like this idea, Anna.
Thank you, Miss.
Most welcome. Ghazal, go ahead. You raised your hand. Ghazal, open the mic and ask me, please. I already took your attendance, ya Jama'a. I already took your attendance and downloaded. Ghazal, please.
بس عندي سؤال لو سمحتي.
تفضل.
في الثالث كلاس في ال TMA blood donation ما أعطانا ال methods وال attributes، يعني ما فهمت.
Do your best to solve it. What do you understand? What do we need to add in your code? Put it. It is an open scenario. It is an open scenario. Whatever you find it good, suitable to you, use it. Okay? If you don't find anything, خلاص. This is your opinion. Okay? But does this
عادي
ثواني أكمل. Does this opinion matching the requirements on the scenario؟ هل هذا الاقتراح بتاعك matching السيناريو اللي موجود عندك بالتيم A ولا لا؟ كمل يا مصعب سؤالك.
طيب في انترفيس ولا كلهم كلاس عادي يعني؟ كلاسات عادية.
اجتهد. Why not؟ اجتهد. Why not؟ It can be solved by many ways.
طيب شكرا.
يا هلا.
دكتورة.
السلام عليكم سليمان. مس ملك. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة.
مس بخصوص الأرقام الشعب هي تغيرت، فإيش هنحط اللي موجودة اللي هي الأخيرة اللي هم حدثوها اللي هي 1302، أو نحط اللي هي الشعب القديمة اللي في البداية سجلنا عليها اللي هي 2202؟
أنا بفضل الجديدة، المفروض الميرج، لأنه خلاص القديمة ما إلها وجود على السيستم.
خلاص طيب يعطيك الف عافية.
يا هلا يا مؤيد. في آنسة من الآنسات طلبت تسألني ودخل مؤيد فيها ووقفها.
أيوة بس أنا.
تفضلي.
عادي لو يتمدد وقت تسليم الواجب، لأنه صراحة له وقت.
ما عندي تعليمات وقسما بالله، ولو اجت التعليمات من العماده هحط واقول لكم مبروك تم الديلي.
طيب
تمام؟ الله يفتح عليك. اذا جتني تعليمات مباشره هحطها. اي سؤال ثاني؟ Yes,
Miss,
miss.
just one more question. I forgot that in our project we have to write our name and ID. So do we have to enter our session name or no?
No. ID or name, it's enough, or both of them is enough. No need to change.
Okay, Miss. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. Nice to meet you all. Any more? غزل، سألتيني يا غزل، قادرة تفتح المايك؟ غزل، طب اكتبي لي يا غزل، أي حاجة، أي جملة، أي حاجة غزل. إذا كان just send it by email. Okay? Any more questions? Okay. So thank you for attending today with me. I already download your attendance. Thank you. Wish you all best of luck and work hard to finish your team is on time. And may Allah help you and blessing you all. يعطيكم ألف عافية صديقك. غزل، قدرتي تفتحي؟ سمعت صوت. Any question؟
لا مو غزل، مس ملك.
تفضل.
يعني ما في أي أمل إنه يتمدد شوية الوقت؟
مش بإيدي، مش أنا اللي حطيت الموعد، مش أنا.
مين عشان يحنوا علينا شوية عشان الوقت مرة ضيق والكلاسات كثير.
حابين تبعتوا للعميد أوكي، بس هي عامة إنه التيم إيز معروف إن هي ما بتتمدد، لينا فترة ما بنمدد التيم إيز، لكن بيبقى فيه ليت سبمشن، يعني أنا ما قدرت أخلص اليوم، أخلصته بكرة. if you finish it مثلا تاني يوم it's okay, you can submit it. okay, you can submit it, but you will deduct مثلا 10% أو 20% as they will send us the policy. تمام؟
يعني لو سلمته بعده بيوم ممكن نخصم عليه درجتين صح؟
يس، من 20 درجتين. أيوة.
تمام، شكرا لك.
You're most welcome. So, Ms Malak, if I didn't finish it, what do you suggest? Look, if you submitted and we reached the due date, you cannot resubmit again. If you did not submit and you go inside late submission, it will be available to you. So once you submit it and the due date done, خلاص, you cannot resubmit. If you did not submit, but you can submit it as a late submission. بالعربي يا مس، بالعربي. اوكي؟ ماشي. إذا سلمتوه لغاية ما يجي الكت اوف ديت تقدروا تعيدوا وتسلموا. أول ما يوصل الكت اوف ديت ما بتقدروا تعيدوا التسليم. طب يا مس أنا لو ما سلمته late submission, yes you can submit it once، مرة واحدة late submission. يعني يا مس أنا لو غلطت وغيرت ورجعت حطيته عادي، لسه ما اجى السبمشن بتاعه الديو سبمشن. وانس وصل الديو سبمشن ما تقدروا تسلموا تاني. تمام؟ طب انا ما سلمت بالمره، you can still submit it as a late submission. واضح؟
Miss, look, if I submit it today, for example, and tomorrow I remember something in the code, and if I edit it, so before the deadline, is it okay to resubmit it again?
Yes, before the due date, yes.
Okay, Miss. Thank you.
Most welcome. You can resubmit it before the due date. Once the due date, you cannot resubmit, but you can submit late submission. تمام؟ Okay?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. غزل، إذا ما كنتيش قادرة تفتح المايك, you can send me your question by email. I can reply. تمام? Nice to meet you all. Thank you. Thank you.